This week was a huge week for both Facebook and a certain company called Cambridge Analytica. Now, if you've heard of that company before, it's because during the 2016 US presidential election, they are the company that helped out with the social media end of the Trump campaign. But it was revealed this week that they had a whole bunch of access to data that maybe they shouldn't have. Now, to explain exactly what that means for you and your data, our panel this week is Matt Hopkins, the technology editor of Pedestrian.tv, and Claire Riley from the technology website CNET. Now, Claire, break it down for me. What does it mean that this company had all this access, and why exactly are people so upset?
This week we learnt that that nifty little app, This Is Your Digital Life, was actually mining swathes of data from you. So it was an app that was set up a couple of years ago by a researcher at Cambridge, and it was a sort of a personality profiling app, and you just gave innocent little details about your deepest, darkest desires and fears and expected it to go nowhere, except it didn't go nowhere. The researcher passed it on to a company called Cambridge Analytica, and this was at a time when Facebook had settings that allowed me to share information about my friends even if they didn't know it. So about 250,000 people used this app, and then Cambridge Analytica was able to glean a lot of really personal data from about 50 million Facebook users and turn it into a profiling tool to say, all right, if you like this kind of thing, you're more likely to vote this way. If you like Kim Kardashian, you're more likely to vote for a libertarian, whatever the case may be.
Sure, why not? That makes sense. And so why is this actually bad?
There's two sides of the story. One saying that the way that the data was gathered was not exactly above board.
Sure.
Which I think there's two sides to that, because Facebook have come out and said the way that they did do it was kind of okay, but when that was passed on to Cambridge Analytica for commercial use, that's when it became dodgy.
Let's just start with the relationship between Cambridge Analytica and the Trump campaign. Has there been anything new that has come out of that relationship, out of those revelations this week, Claire?
Well, we know that Stephen Bannon, who was the chief strategist for the Trump campaign before being fired last year, so many people have been fired. He was, I think, vice president of Cambridge Analytica.
He was on the board, I think.
Yeah, so he was saying, well, you know what, I got this cheeky side interest that's actually really good at profiling people. So they were taking information. We're exactly right. Like, the information was offered up by users voluntarily, but the app creator then passed it on in a way that defied Facebook's terms of service. Obviously, there's the whole Facebook washing its hands. Well, we didn't expect it to get this far. You know, they are collecting this kind of information and making that sort of login through Facebook app availability really easy for app developers. So I think when people sign up for Facebook and they take a personality quiz, they don't expect that that is information that's then going to turn into a huge profiling tool that is used by the Trump campaign to then do things really basic like, okay, how are people going to vote? Where should we draw the line on certain issues? How should we adjust our campaign speeches based on the profiling of the US public?
Everything you're describing sounds like the entire basis of Facebook's advertising model.
Yes.
So why is it not okay for Cambridge Analytica to use that data, but it is okay for Facebook to use that data to sell me so many shoes I don't need?
Because you signed up to Facebook and you agreed to share all that information with Facebook, but you didn't necessarily agree to share it with Cambridge Analytica. And the big problem here is a lot of people don't realise that when you sign up with an external third-party app, you are sharing that information and they get all of your Facebook information.
Yeah. Matt, we've started to see in the last couple of days quite a big movement of people wanting to delete Facebook. I think every news outlet under the sun has written a how to delete your Facebook account article. What is the likely impact going to be on Facebook itself here, do you think, in the next couple of months?
Well, they've already, Mark Zuckerberg's lost, I think, was it $9 billion off his wealth?
Yeah.
The reality is people are still going to keep using it. People are still going to keep falling into the same traps until something, I don't know whether there will be a point where something really big needs to happen for people to wake up. I really don't know.
That's the problem. I don't think people want to. So we can be outraged and this is going to be a cycle it feels like a particularly deep outrage cycle. But we've seen this happen before when we found out certain apps weren't encrypted and so our messages could be easily read, or we find out that Instagram is targeting ads to us, or we find out that Twitter works in a certain way and we get outraged. But these tech companies are so baked into our lives that it's very difficult to remove yourself, and a lot of people don't want to, you know? Oh, I was chatting to a producer this morning. I'll lose my event invitations. I'll lose my ability to share stuff with friends. I don't want that. Problem is we got the fun parts of Facebook and all of the good stuff before we realised its downsides, and I think a lot of people don't want to get rid of the good stuff.
And Facebook knew about this for a while, didn't they?
There were reports that they knew for about 2 years and they didn't do anything, allegedly.
Why would they have done nothing?
If they call out, hold on, everyone, I don't know if you knew this, but this company is able to build up a really accurate profile of you, shock and horror, be terrified, then suddenly they're telling their own customers or users or product that they should be terrified of the way Facebook is targeting ads. So I see there's a lot of vested interest in Facebook staying quiet about how its whole system is built up. And they don't want to lose users. They don't want to lose, a massive valuation of their stock dropping away, you know. It's the move fast and break things and just constantly evolve and constantly get better, and don't worry about those things that are in the past because we've changed our privacy settings. That's not a feature anymore. It's okay. It's okay.
Yeah. There is heaps more of this in the podcast of Download This Show. Yeah, it's a podcast. That's why we call it Download This Show. You can find it in all of the good podcasting apps and some of the bad ones too. We'll see you there.